A recent thought that I have that's been hitting my mind quite a bit is that knowing that my narcissistic mother was incapable to love me the way that I should have been loved. One thought has crossed my mind, and that's if she was unable to love me from childhood on up, why in the hell not just put me up for adoption? Because obviously narcissists are only capable of loving themselves. And it just really just baffles me. It's like, she didn't love me, she wasn't capable of loving me, she wasn't capable of giving me the best. Then why didn't she not put me up for adoption? I remember being a very young kid, kindergarten actually, and I was diagnosed as being a slow learner. Everybody in class picked up things a lot quicker than I ever did. And in kindergarten, they'd done all kinds of tests on me, and I had been in a slow learning class from kindergarten, up until the 7th grade, when my brain really started picking things up. And I actually grew out of learning things slow. But the perception, just looking back, the perception of what my mom thought of me was, since I was a slow learner and I was going through all these special classes at the time when I was 5th grade up into 7th grade, even though she never really said it out loud, but her actions, just by looking back at her actions and the way she treated me, I felt like I was being treated like I was some type of retard, or what they call, if you want to talk politically correct, which I'm not one of those type of people that like to be politically correct, but you want to say mentally challenged. But I'm going to come out and say, just felt like I was being labeled as a retard by my own mother. She automatically think, well, there's something wrong with me, and that ever since that I was a kid, being put in these special classes, that something was wrong with me here. But there was never wrong with my speech. Of course, I stuttered a lot, but that doesn't classify me as being mentally retarded. But looking back through all the years, as far back as I can remember, it hurts me that even today, even as an adult and I've accomplished so much, that she would still treat me and label me like a retard. I'm never going to be good enough for her. But you know what? That's her loss. And I struggle with not giving a damn to give a damn. But not giving a damn so much to where I want to be back in her life and see what she's up to or what my sisters are up to. Nothing like that. But I know I'm going to be struggling, and today just feels like one of these days where I just feel like I'm just struggling with trying to find out who I am. I mean, I see some potential in me in a lot of things, but for some reason I'm struggling to believe that I'm capable of doing those things, and that I think in some ways I'm just afraid of being successful, or just being afraid of success itself, even though I want it so bad. I don't know. But tomorrow I'll be seeing my therapist, and her and I will, within the next couple of sessions, be able to sort all that out. But this upcoming session that we're going to go over would be mainly just the letter that I wrote to my narcissistic mother, and the same letter that I've read to you in my last video. She gave me a homework assignment, my therapist did. And this one is what they call the therapy goals. One side I had to list like 5 goals. Like, what do I expect to get out of therapy? And on each goal, I have to write an indicator like what in my life would be different if this goal was met. And the first one is a big one. And that's the first goal, is to heal the wounded inner child in me that still hurts even now. The second goal would be to be able not to compare myself to others. I always feel I gotta compete. And that's just something you just don't turn off with the snap of a finger. You know, that takes work to do. Because that's been beaten in my head for so many years. To compete against me and my sisters. You know, and not just me and my biological sisters, per se, but to be competitive in anything. Or it be any type of sport, or in the classroom. I felt like I had to be the smartest one and better than anybody else. And that's so hard. It's hard not to think that way, and to get myself to just focus on myself, but in a good way, to focus on myself that, hey, you need to worry about you, don't worry about anybody else. Everybody's got their own strengths and abilities, you know. And I have a hard time. I'm more enough to admit that I have a hard time accepting that there's going to be some people that's better than I am, or has more strengths than I do, or has, I don't know, just if someone's able to perform a job faster than I can, but I'm the kind of person I'd like to make sure that it's done right and not have to keep correcting something that you keep screwing up. I'm always that detail-oriented person. I want to make sure before it leaves my hands that it's done right. And some people, they just got their own system, and everybody's brain's wired differently. And I recall when I was in school, the last school I went to, there was this girl, and I'm not going to mention her name, but she was able to get 10 weeks worth of school term work all done in 3 weeks. So she always flaunt like she's better than anybody. And then I always had that sense of like, well, okay, you could do all that stuff real fast, but what about your quality? I'm thinking, well, you do your stuff fast, but I know I could be better than you in something. So it's just some people that has a better strength than I do, or that's able to do something a little bit quicker than I do, I always automatically feel that I can't do the job, or that I'm not as good as that person, or that I can't, exceed this person. Like, there's got to be something about me that I gotta find something within me that I want to outshine her and say, no, bitch, I'm the one. You're not, you know. And I look back at that way of thinking, I say, well, you know what, that's not really my fault because that was beaten into me, but I know, being mature enough and growing up, that that's not the way to be. That's that grandiosity, or being grandiose, you know, thinking that you're better than everybody else and everybody's below you. And when I used to bowl in the league, I used to always thought I was better than everybody else because I always took my bowl seriously. I considered myself professional bowler caliber, multi-skilled, um, carried in there between 6 to 8 bowling balls, and I just really thought I was better than everybody else. And you know, and I could throw the ball, I could play the lane all kinds of different ways and release the ball types of different ways and play more parts of the lane than anybody else. And so I'm versatile, I'm better than anybody. But you know what? Looking back at that, when I think that way, I put more pressure on myself. And those people that I really felt that I was better, they were want to get all the lucky breaks, and I wasn't. And that was because of that way of thinking. But yes, being able not to compare myself to others, that's going to be a very, very big piece of work to overcome. But the third goal is to have a very strong confidence in myself and confidence in my decisions without second guessing myself. That's another biggie. It's like, you know, or second guessing myself, like not overthinking, because that's gonna hurt me. Fourth goal, to really find out who I really am, my true self. I don't think I found my true self yet. I don't even know what my true self is. I mean, sometimes I think I know. Sometimes I feel with all the medical knowledge that I know. Sometimes I feel like I'm the next Dr. Oz. But, you know. And then sometimes I don't think. I feel like I'm going to be the next Dr. Oz. You know. Don't get me wrong, there's only one Dr. Oz out there. And there's only one Mary Ellen, daughter of a narcissistic mother. But I know I'm not the only one that's a victim of narcissistic mother. I know there's lots of people that's struggling with this is in the same boat that I am. Question is, which direction do you want to go? You want to continue living and thinking this way that was beaten to your head even though it's not your fault, or do you just want to get off your ass and realize that it's not the way to live, and to get help, read everything you can about it, and empower yourself, and cut yourself off from the people, whether it be parents, boyfriend, husband, whoever the narcissistic person is in your life. You gotta break them off, because if you don't, your mental health's gonna suffer, as well as your well-being, and as well as who you are, your identity. And the fifth thing that I expect to get out of therapy is to better handle people who attack me and what one would think of me, as well as to better handle people who would provoke me to anger me and to be violent. You know, if someone does something or says something to provoke me, I want to be able to know how to better handle it without getting my emotions in the way. So, and I haven't really thought about the indicators for each yet, but I'm sure it will come to me. I just got back seeing my oldest daughter, and it sounds like she's kind of regretting moving out and knowing that she's scared wondering if she'll make it or not. I told her, you gotta think. You gotta be stepping forward, not stepping backward. If you step backward and go back to your grandmother, then you know that all hell's gonna break loose. Then you're taking a step backward, you're not taking a step forward. So I worry about her. But you know what? I can only help her so much. But not to the point to where I forget about me. Because if I don't take care of myself, how can I be the mom that I'd like to be to both my daughters if I don't get myself together and to heal and to understand why my life is the way it is, especially growing up with a narcissistic mother and an enabling father, late father that is. And it's just going to be a struggle, big time struggle, you know. And I don't know. Right now, I have a lot of mixture of emotions in me. It's like I have some anger. I want to get to the point to where I could really have closure. But I know I have to do the work that's set before me. I had to take it one step at a time. I gotta realize that this isn't fast food. It's something you can just get over with a snap or a blink of an eye. It doesn't work that way. You know, I still had to work through all the hurts, all the disappointments, realizing the fact that my mom will never love me. Never did. And I'm still grieving with that. And I just need to take however long I feel I need to grieve about it. But I know at some point I can't let it make me feel depressed. At some point, it's like, okay, I've tried to work on this, I've wrestled with this. Now I need not to let it get to the point to where I just become depressed. But even though I would become depressed, thoughts of suicide would never cross my mind because I believe it's an abomination against God. And that's the only thing that would even keep me or prevent me from even thinking of any type of suicidal thoughts. I remember the days that I went shopping with my mother and my twin half sisters, the one that got the best of everything. And we went to this store called, it was named Lazarus. And I remember like it was yesterday that I would tag along with my mother and her twin daughters from the first marriage. And I would tag along with them. And then my mother and my so-called half-sisters at that time were just looking at nice things and clothes and designer clothes, and my mom would buy stuff for them. And I would say, well, Mom, what about me? I mean, I like something. And she just said, I would pick up, I don't know, like a pair of pants, like a pair of Calvin Klein or Gloria Vanderbilt, and say, hey, you know, I like to have these. And she'll look at it and she'll say, well, it's too expensive, too much. Put it on the rack. And I'd find something else a lot cheaper. And I remember showing it to my mother, and would just say, well, I'll say, here, Mom, well, this is cheaper, it's clearance. Then she would just completely ignore me. But she'll sit there and buy her twin daughters stuff from Lazarus. And that really sticks to me. And that there, looking back, that was the driving force that caused me to lie to get my very first job at 15. And believe me, I passed for 16 easily. And thank God that they didn't check my ID. I was very lucky. And it felt good to start working, to buy the clothes that I wanted, shoes. Hey, I took myself out to Lazarus. But looking back, it just seems that there's no closure there. I mean, yeah, okay, I got some revenge, you know, but looking back, I just felt like it wasn't enough. It's like it's still wounded in me. And I got a lot of stuff I have to wrestle with. A lot of stuff, quite a bit. And I'm realizing stuff in me too, that I was raised by a narcissistic mother that's very incapable of loving me. And I take a look at myself, it's like, I don't feel good with how I relate to people, or just like with my fiance. I mean, yes, I love him, but I feel like I don't love him like I should love him. I just can't give him the love that I would love to give to him. And not just him, but my daughters as well. And to my adopted sisters and my adopted mothers that I have now in my life and place by God. Thank you, Jesus. That it's like I want to love them a certain way, but I just don't know how, because I wasn't taught that growing up. I wasn't taught the kind of love that I would love to give somebody, because I'm not capable of giving it myself, but I want to learn how to. So I think that's probably maybe another goal that maybe I could possibly add on to this. More like, I want to be able to love better. So, you know, I really would like to know how to love better. Because there's still some coldness, some selfish stuff. Not a whole lot. I know at some point, yeah, okay, I have to think about myself at some point and put myself as priority. Because if I don't, I can't be the best person that I can be. But also, too, you can also give yourself too much of yourself to where it becomes exceedingly selfish and you just don't want to be with nobody or think about anything but yourself. It's like, I don't want to get that way. So now, I'm going to go for now. But I wonder if any of you guys ever felt as being a daughter or son of a narcissistic mother. Have any of you ever felt, and you wonder, and you really come to the realization in your life that your mother will never love you the way you want to be loved, and you face that reality and has a thought of just saying, well, Mom, if you didn't love me, why did you have me? Or, Mother, if you didn't love me, how come you didn't put me up for adoption? I'm just wondering if anybody out there can relate to me out there. And if there's something that you would love to share, I would love to see it. Please put your comments and share with me your story of things that I've been saying in my videos, but maybe some things that you can relate to. And to share with me your story and your experience. I would love to hear it. Until then, thank you. See you real soon. Take care.